Micke, vad har du här för något roligt?
Här är min nya luftboot, kallar jag det för. Det är alltså en hybrid mellan en kanadensare och en kayak. Det ser ut som en kanadensare, men man sitter lite lägre och så paddlar man med tvåbladig paddel. Det går såklart att paddla inbladig paddel också, men den är väl tänkt i första hand med kajakpaddel. Så det ska bli spännande. Det är första gången som jag är ute med den.
Just det, första längre turen så att säga. Kul, och du valde en lite lagom blås idag.
Ja, 5 meter och 12-13 i byarna, så det blir sant.
Minst sagt. Ja, vi håller tummarna för det.
Ja.
Härligt, gratulerar till nya båten.
Tack.
Yes. Ja. Hur känns det att sitta ute i den där på allvar, höll jag på att säga?
Det känns fantastiskt.
Det var en trevlig liten sjö.
This is a good memory from a windy day on a small lake in Stockholm, Sweden. You know that feeling when you have a new kayak or a stand-up paddleboard, or in this case a hybrid canoe to test out. It's always exciting to try new gear out or a new boat, and this was the case for my friend Micke, who had purchased, after much consideration, a hybrid canoe next Old Town, and we had been together for a brief test at time of purchase of this new boat. But this was the first time that my friend had the time to actually take this out paddling, and I chose to tag along with my Kokopelli Moki Lite inflatable kayak. You might notice here that I have kind of an awkward seating position, and I should note that early on that this kayak comes with a footrest, but I had actually managed to forget that outside of the bag at home, so I kind of improvised. Still worked nicely. But yeah, we had a bit of a windy day, but this was a nice one, because it's always nice to go to new places, and neither of us had seen this lake before. And it's kind of very unusual setting in parts, as we saw there earlier, with kind of an archipelago feel to it, with small islands and such. Made for a nice experience. And while the lake is really not large at all, it's quite small, it was a good day on the water. And of course, for my friend here, a really nice test to take this out. As you can see, he's using a Greenland paddle. So again, this is a canoe really, but he's sitting lower in the kayak. I mean, hybrid canoe. And I'm saying kayak because he's using, well, he's trying 2 paddles out actually. And he's using a double-bladed paddle, sitting lower than you would in a canoe, and kind of paddling this canoe as a kayak. So it's a nice hybrid. And it turns out that this was actually a purchase he was satisfied with, and we've been out on a number of paddles since. It kind of offers a lot of comfort sitting like this, and some good glide and performance, and of course a lot of packing opportunities, lots of storage for gear in dry bags and such in this open hybrid canoe. So it was a nice thing to see and to join, and since we weren't paddling at any unreasonable speed, it wasn't a problem for me to keep up with my inflatable kayak either. But you know, it's a cold day in spring, in May here, and we're enjoying the scenery. These rocks on the left, and on the other side of the lake, as we mentioned, the islands, the small islands that we passed. And this tree growing on the rocks out of nowhere. But anyway, I hadn't actually seen this kind of craft before, this hybrid canoe solution. And I was kind of impressed as well. The drawback would be, of course, that it's quite heavy to carry. So if you're 2 people, that's a lot easier than handling it as 1 person. But since we were, that's no issue. And it fits on a car rooftop with a proper setup.
Right. Ja, men det här var ju en sjöövning alltså. Jag tycker också att just sådana här klippor är väldigt nice att paddla bredvid.
I've always been a fan of paddling for some reason next to rocks higher than this or just this height. It's kind of has some sort of an enjoyable feel to it. And calmly paddling is always nice, even though here we're cold water kayaking. I mean, it's May, but the air is still, you know, chilly. It's just above 10 or so degrees Celsius, but the water after a cold winter is still cold. So we're still in 1 or 2 part dry suits and basically, you know, ready for the scenario in case we were somehow to end up in the water. Really hard when both these crafts are quite stable, so not really something that we're worried about, but you have to prepare for it. So when you go out kayaking, as a reminder, as people will regularly hear on this channel or see on this channel, when you're out in cold water, you dress not for the air temperature, but for the water temperature. You never know what might happen. If you somehow were to end up in the water, it's really imperative that you're properly dressed. And in this case, a dry suit is the way to go. It's still cold in the water. And proper clothing underneath so that you stay warm even if you were to be immersed in the water. I always take safety seriously when paddling, which makes for, you know, a bit of gear and logistics for the setup. But once you're out there, you can be confident because you know that you are set up properly and you're safe in terms of the safety precautions you've taken. And if something were to happen, not that it's a huge risk on a small lake like this, but you never know. You know that you're going to be able to handle that situation because you have the proper gear, you've practiced how to get back into your craft or helping someone else getting back into their kayak or whatever it is. And yeah, that's a bit of the safety talk. But anyway, we had a short but really nice paddle. And for my friend,
All right,
as we were carrying our crafts back to the car,
men vill du ta hit bilen kanske?
Basically, you know, he was really happy with his purchase. And it was really nice to see and something new like
this. Det var
this.
ju markant att du drog ifrån i motvind.
Ja, men den glider ju ändå bra.
Ja, det är kanske inte så konstigt att liksom, ja, men det är ett bra kvitto på att du får ju prestanda.
Again, the drawback in this case is the weight. I mean, compared to my super light kayak here. But the performance is good and the comfort is great and there's an easy craft to just put a lot of gear in as long as you secure it somehow properly. So yeah, congratulations to my friend Micke on the new kayak, on the new hybrid canoe.
2,64.
And many happy paddles still.